By the final days of April 1945, the Soviet artillery bombardment had reduced the center of Berlin to ash and ruin. The Red Army was closing its grip on the government district. Deep beneath the rubble, Adolf Hitler and Eva Braun ended their own lives. Fearing his corpse would be publicly desecrated, like that of Benito Mussolini, Hitler had left strict orders. His body was to be entirely destroyed. In the chaotic aftermath, aides wrapped the bodies in thick blankets, carried them up the stairs of the underground bunker, and laid them in a shallow bomb crater in the Chancellery garden. With Soviet shells still exploding around them, the aides emptied 180 liters of petrol over the remains, ignited them, and retreated. But an outdoor cremation requires immense, sustained heat. The rushed attempt failed to completely incinerate the remains, leaving behind charred bones and dental bridges in the dirt. His failure to achieve total cremation left behind the physical evidence that would prevent the story of his death from reaching a clear conclusion for the next 70 years. When Soviet SMERSH counterintelligence units finally breached the bunker on May 2nd, they navigated a subterranean maze littered with scattered documents and discarded personal effects. 2 days later, a team led by Lieutenant Colonel Ivan Klemenko sifted through the garden and discovered the partially burned human remains resting in the crater. To identify the corpses, Soviet forces tracked down Kathe Heussermann and Fritz Echtmann, assistants to Hitler's personal dentist, and brought them in to examine the physical evidence. Examining the surviving jaw sections, the assistants matched the unique gold and porcelain bridges to the dental records they had helped create. The Soviet Union now held the physical proof of the dictator's death. But instead of sharing it, they withheld the confirmation, allowing rumors of his survival to persist for decades. As the dust settled over Berlin, military combat transitioned into geopolitical warfare. The Iron Curtain was descending, and information became a weapon. Recognizing the power of uncertainty, Joseph Stalin initiated a calculated disinformation campaign regarding the fate of the German leader. At the Potsdam conference, Stalin told Western leaders that Hitler had likely escaped and might be living in Spain or Argentina. The secret reality was far less mysterious. Soviet intelligence had already packed the charred remains of Hitler, Eva Braun, and the Goebbels family into wooden crates. The lingering questions over Hitler's fate were not a result of missing evidence, but a state-sponsored illusion designed by Stalin to sow geopolitical confusion. In June 1945, Soviet counterintelligence moved the crates out of Berlin, burying them in a remote forest near Rathenow. 8 months later, as the Third Shock Army prepared to relocate, the crates were dug up for a second secret move, transporting them south to Magdeburg. The remains were placed into a 2-meter-deep pit in the courtyard of a Soviet military facility at West End Strasse 36. Soldiers leveled the dirt and paved over the gravesite, ensuring the burial ground matched the surrounding courtyard. While the crates lay hidden, the Western Allies were forced to conduct years of witness trials and forensic reviews just to legally declare Hitler dead in 1956. While global intelligence agencies hunted for an escaped mastermind, the dictator was merely decomposing beneath a nondescript East German parking lot. The secret held until 1970, when the Soviet military prepared to abandon the Magdeburg facility and transfer the land to East German civilian control. This impending handover alarmed KGB chief Yuri Andropov. He feared that if the burial site was ever discovered, it could become a destination for neo-Nazis. To prevent this, Andropov authorized a classified mission, codenamed Operation Archive, to permanently destroy the remains. In the dead of night on April 4th, a specialized KGB team broke the pavement, dug into the mud, and extracted the decaying wooden crates. They transported the bones to a field near the town of Schönebeck and incinerated them on a bonfire. The fragments were ground into ash and thrown directly into the Biederitz River. This measure wiped the physical trace of Hitler from the earth, replacing a potential dark monument with absolute erasure. Yet the Soviets had secretly retained a few fragments in their archives, including a piece of skull featuring a bullet hole and the original jawbone. In 2009, this generated controversy when American DNA testing proved that the archived skull fragment actually belonged to an unidentified woman under the age of 40. This was not evidence of Hitler's survival, but a red herring caused by a sloppy 1946 Soviet sweep of the commingled graves in the Chancellery garden. The physical evidence remains the original jawbone, which was pathologically re-verified by French scientists in 2018 against his dental records. Hitler failed to orchestrate a mythic disappearance. Instead, his remains became a pawn in a Soviet shell game, ending as anonymous ash scattered in a river.